Right, I'm back at my desk again. I'm doing a lot of desk jobs at the moment. I'm recovering post Australia Day, where I got horribly sunburnt, and I got myself a skinhead haircut, and I went out in a kilt and a Jacobite vest to support my wife, who was getting her citizenship, and she's now a true blue Aussie. So I have to stay inside for a while and recover. So one of the jobs I thought I might do here is tackle this student microscope, which was a donation from my former neighbour who's come down with motor neurone disease, and I got a camera here to fit it, and I do have a bunch of adapters around that I've forgotten what I did with, that were the correct thread to screw onto the top of this eyepiece and mount this camera. But this being an old British thing and measurements are not standard, and now that I've got a 3D printer working, I'm just going to design and 3D print an adapter. Okay, so I found the adapters. So these are a bunch of different threaded adapters. This one was supposed to fit in here, which it sort of does with a bit of tape and stuff involved. So I had this adapter here. This is threaded for something else, but supposedly 30mm inner diameter. This one's another one. These are all different microscope standards. Now this one actually fits the thread on the top of the eyepiece. You can take the top optic off the eyepiece and this thread's in there just. It's a little bit of a tricky thread and the thread pitch is a little different. But I since discovered I was wrong about that. And anyway, this whole setup isn't ideal. So what we're going to do, now this little screw here, you can undo that and this whole eyepiece comes out. I've already done that. I did a full teardown video on this. Now the outer diameter of this is 24mm. This is slightly bigger. I want to leave that on here so I can butt my camera up. I've got some blue tack because I lost the lens protector, but I want to butt that up right close to it. The other thing is that this optic has got a bit of a crack in it. I want to find a new one eventually. So I'm going to try and set it up for this, and yeah, so I'm going to get into AutoCAD. Alright, let's double check our measurements here. Firstly, let's start here. I got to zero you out. So we did confirm 24mm pretty much on the nose. This one is 24.7. We're going to call that 25mm. Alright, now I'd love to be doing this by a screen capture and make everything look really good, but I'm lazy, so I'm not going to do too much of this. We're just going to hang around here. Going to create a new OBT. So I've got AutoCAD here, which I find much easier to do my 2D stuff with, and made myself a 25mm ring with a 3mm offset. And then we're going to go over to AutoCAD. We're going to go new 2D sketch on that plane. We're going to fart our calibrated design in here with the Control V button. We're going to do E for extrude. We're going to bring you up 10mm. Seems not quite enough. Let me find a ruler here for a moment. There's usually one hanging around in the back side here. Let's take a look this way. 10mm is not going to be enough. I reckon 20mm at least. I reckon 25mm. 25mm seems like it's going to have enough ability to overcome the rocking and whatnot on that. So let's make you 25mm. Now that I've finally broken it free of the Imperial system, it should be good. Now I need to work on the camera side of things. Now I could have bought a considerably more expensive microscope camera here, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money at not being sure if it would work or not. I noticed there is a taper in here. That's going to be good, because if I make things the size for this, which is 22.5, so if I make that 23, this goes all the way up to 23. So if I make it if I make it 23mm with a bit of expansion on PLA plastic, which is what I plan to put this in, it should fit alright. D for diameter, 23mm for diameter there. Double check that this is actually 23mm across. That looks roughly the same as this one, which is 25mm. That's good. We need to offset by 3mm to give it some wall thickness, and that's pretty much that for that. Take you, copy that out back to Autodesk. Let's create a new standard IPT part. Go that, grade that, and then do this. We should be good. Finish you, and then we wanted to make you, extrude you about 25 mil. There we go. That is that part. Okay, I found my parts. Let's take these guys, drag them in. We have two parts here, so we're going to take you, and we are going to constrain. Where's constraint? Pick the center line of that, match the center line of you, and it goes clunk. They pop together. With circles, you only need 2 axes of constraint rather than 3. So now we're going to constrain this little side here. Actually, let's cancel that. Let's constrain this a different way. Let's constrain that surface. No. That surface, please. No, redo selection 1. That surface to that surface. Clonk them together. We'll put a chamfer in there in a minute. But that's the start of it. Now we need to make the second step for the back of the camera. While we're here, the back of the camera looks a little bit fat and tapered out, so I'll take the biggest bit of that. It's going to be 27.2. We'll make that 28 mil. So we take you, we right click you, go constraint with a center line of that to match the center line of that. Bring you up, squeeze you around, and then we go constrain that surface to that surface, and we're looking good. Okay, now I might end up extruding that all the way through to here to make the outside diameter look better, given that that diameter is bigger than the rest. We'll work that out in a second. Alright, now I'm sitting in Simplify 3D, and I've had a bit of a look here. I notice there's a step in there and there's a step in there. Now this is the side the camera is going to go in, and that step is not going to print very well if I rotate it vertically. So I'm going to have to print it with supports, but supports in here are not likely to cause nearly as much problem as supports on that side. I am thinking what I might go back and do is turn one of these into a chamfer. Alright, we've added a step inside and out, or rather I've added a fillet inside and out. I'm going to print it this way up with supports, and then this can be a nice clean step for the camera. This is going to be a little bit higgledy-piggledy anyway, but I can sand that out if I have to. Alright, printer time. We're going to whack our thing in. This is an old MakerBot that Tinkerman Mick gave me. And currently the only one that I've got that's working. Let's try you. Let it heat up. Now, there may be some anomalies in how the manifold of the design is. And I say manifold because if you get this wrong, it says the design is not manifold. So we'll see how it prints. It may screw up, it may not, but it'll be fun to find out. Okay, so it's worth noting that when I did this, I've added some extra like tolerances, a little bit of extra gap with things, because filament does expand when you print it. PLA not as much as something like ABS, but you can still get it, especially if this is moist, it can still do it. I made a Swiss Army SD card holder some time ago. I designed that, I'll put it on Thingiverse. It's had millions of downloads now. But everybody complained that things didn't quite fit. And some of that was because there was expansion of these things. And I did things pretty tight. And I said you might have to upscale the design by 1%. But encouraging people to read instructions before they print something, I found was pretty much like getting people to read instructions for anything else. They don't want to do it. So a lot of people did complain about that. Long story short, when you're printing, if it's 25 mil, make it 25.5 or 26 mil. Give it a bit of space. Things won't always be exact. Oh, the autofocus didn't like that. Alright, we're nearing temperature. Normally I'd have tweezers to grab this, but I'm going to have to stick my hands in here and adjust the bed in a second. Well, what do you know, I didn't need to adjust the bed. It was pretty right when I left it. This has a habit of, with the G code, although this uses its own separate code. I've got it doing a bunch of skirts to go around, or a brim around to help adhere it to the bed, because this is not a heated bed. Very often it'll drop down 0.5 millimeter after that first bit when it does the infill, which scrapes it on the bed. Yep, as expected, it did drop down 0.5 millimeter in the middle. I don't think that's going to cause too much of a problem, but I can feel the filament skipping. Really irritating when it does that. I just have to say, it's a really surreal moment to have pushed go on the printer and not have to mess with anything or interrupt it. I'm not used to printers that just work. Yeah, I kind of expected this. It did something funky with the filleting, and looks like it's treating that whole object as hollow. Something's a little bit messed up, but you know what? I'll let it go. I'll see what it does. Okay, found me problem. Pesky little thingy here called combine. Something I haven't done in years. I forgot to combine the source parts into a single solid. This has allowed me to loft this, and I can't rotate this around one-handed. It's a bit of a difficult. Let's try the view cube up here. So you can see here along the side here, I've lofted these two together. Really printer friendly then. Nice gentle curve, and I've put a chamfer in here. This should print a whole lot better. In the meantime, this thing's going gangbusters with this thing, but I think I'm just going to use this to check my measurements at this point. Alright, we're going to cancel this build. Going to let her come down here. Check if the measurements we've got will fit the bits that it's supposed to fit. It was just starting to drop into the next one, but this will be good. A little trick I learnt from the Prusa days. Hairspray. Nifty stuff. I'm filming for this, but yeah, this separate piece here just come right off because I hadn't combined the parts. This is going to fit nicely in that bit. This bit I need to trim the brim off first. Alright, so you remember how I was saying things can expand a bit. Even with this trimmed out a bit, no way that's going to fit in there. So we do need to measure what we actually have here and what we should have had and make some compensation. So I just did a measurement. Our desired measurement was 24.5. What we actually have is 25.6. It's just this step in here I've got to sand out, which was to be expected. Alright, after generating some microplastics, it fits perfectly. So I'll add a little fillet into the top of that. That sits nicely on that little stop there. That actually is kind of perfect. So I'll add a little chamfer on the inside so I don't have to clean up the rest later. Alright, prototype number 2. Here we go. Alright, looks like version 2 is printing nicely without supports. It's going very, very well, and that loft is working nicely. It's just tapering up in size very well. Alright, we're at 99%, we're almost there. There's a couple of wonky bits of the layers where it's pulled a bit hard on the filament, and that's just up to my janky setup. But you can see some of the benefits of, or you will see when we pull this off, some of the benefits of designing your own stuff. You can make it 3D printer friendly. There we go, we're finished. And yes, for heated bed, that's fine. We don't have a heated bed. The G-code's got it stuck in there somewhere. Alright, build finished. Now this is where we find out why I use hairspray. That's why. Okay, we're back on the desk. We can peel off the brim, and the little the chamfer I put in here has meant it's nice and clean, and it slips over with a little bit of slack in there. So the little bit of slack I made to get it over that has actually made it a bit too loose. That's nothing a bit of tape won't fix, or a bit of an adjustment. This bit on the other hand has gone in very tightly, so that is actually going to fit in nicely. So from that aspect, that camera's nice and tight. This end, can we push that in a bit? It's going to keep it nice and concentric, but yes, we might tape it up a bit and shim it out, and then we'll make another version tomorrow. But let's get some tape. We're going to go below the eyepiece, because the eyepiece is stepped out slightly. Yeah, wow, okay, that extra 0.5 millimeter added a lot on there. So I guess we will make some more adjustments in the next iteration. But for tonight, I want to see if this works. So we'll pack this out carefully with some tape, and we'll be back shortly. Okay, we've packed enough tape on that it's nice and firm. It certainly looks like a better setup than I had before. Let's just ignore the chaos that is my desk right now and the chaos of the way I rolled this cable up. Where are we? Untwist, please. Plug you in here for a bit, and let's see what happens on screen. Alright, we have some Velcro on here, some Velcro tape. We can see it pretty clearly. I think that focus is actually just fine. If I leave this hanging down under here, you might better wriggle this up a little bit and see if the focus is any different. No, the focus is about perfect. That bit of the mass is alright, so it's just that inner diameter I've got to tweak. This little sharp edge I'll take off in a little bit, but we're looking pretty good. Let's get something actually decent happening with this. One of the next things I will be doing with this is adding a light mount for this, but at the moment we're looking at one of the SMD capacitors on an Apple SSD. Right, so last time I did an order with PCBWay, I think it was, or yeah, something like that. Anyway, we've got the one ruler to rule them all. They sent me this as a freebie. This is also handy for measuring sizes. So we've got a 28 hole here, and I'm going to focus this up. Alright, so that's the size 28 hole on that board. That's the smallest hole on the board. We can go over some of the others. We can see how jagged the holes are, but let's find a measurement grid. Alright, so this is the measurement grid at the 4x objective, and we have aligned the camera to vertical as well, which is nice. I'll draw a little line on here with Sharpie in a minute to help me align that. That also gives me a grid. On this software called Strange View, you can actually drag a scale down here and align it so you can measure things. Just as an addendum to this, I've stuck a tiny grain of wheat globe down here. The little tiny little globes like that. I'm going to turn her on and make her glow just a little bit, and we get to have a look at what the filament looks like glowing in here. Now if I can turn it down just a bit, it might look even cooler. So we're going to turn our voltage down just a little bit here, see if we can get just a glowing filament that looks cool on camera. It's a very touchy supply. Go all the way down. Can we make it? That's as low as that supply goes. Right, we've got it here at 10 times. We're going to take a measurement with this button. We should be able to click this and then take a measurement. Sometimes this software is a little dicky. Our filament is 0.3 millimeters in winding, and our filament is about 0.04 millimeters of tungsten wire. That is tiny stuff.